Hello and welcome to the Mandraw podcast. It is the 7th of July 2015. I am one of your hosts, Lord Ant-Man. Joining me, as always, is my main bro, Mr. Mohan. How's it going,
Hello! I've replaced myself with a Skylander thing on the...
I think it's doing a better job. I think
so. It's actually, spot the difference kind of thing,
That's it. Also joining us, it looks like he's replaced himself with Mr. Potato Head. It's Christian. Oh no, you're right, mate. It's you. Hello.
Hello.
No.
Thank you.
Potatoes aren't that red. Have you been in the sun, mate? What's going on?
I've got straight to my podcast, my webcam settings again. Hold on.
It must be something to do with the colour balance.
It is, yes. That's all it is. Yes.
You look very red, though.
I do, don't I?
You got a very red chest there. If you don't mind me. And your forehead. What's going on there?
Heart condition.
You look like a sofa.
An old Chesterfield settee. No, I am that colour, I think.
I think.
Okay, I'm not changing it. Yeah, fuck it. Yes, hello.
Well, it could be an illness. So let's see. That's a terrible segue. We have a Japanese illness that's out there. Those sick Japanese. It's a problem which is 5 times more prevalent than HIV in this country. It is a condition called hikikomori. And it is where Japanese men are locking themselves in their bedrooms for years on end, which is apparently creating a bit of a social and a health problem.
So they're finding Dura?
That's it. They found Dota and or RuneScape and many other things, and they've shut themselves in their room. Let's see this sort of article from, ABC. I know it's American in this week of independence. Wankers. But no, they've said that they follow a fellow called... Yuto Inishi, who's been stuck in his bedroom for over 3 years. So, it's not like one of these weird game shows that you always see on there. They just, it's a weird social problem that sort of surrounds the culture of shame, embarrassment, and often a relationship, a strong bond with their mother that can sort of like lead them to become introverts, and sort of coupled with that whole sort of like culture of segregation. They just find themselves trapped living a life, well, sort of like a reverse life. So in the night-time, they might scurry out like little vampires and get food. But during the day, they sleep. And, at night, they just read comics and troll the internet. So, apparently 1 million people in Japan, which is pound for pound with the UK, that's about 500,000 people in the UK, which, as I say, is, 5 times more than the amount of people that have HIV. And I read this article and it's like... I can kind of see this. Being PC gamers, we are kind of troll-like, aren't we? We've got like 1 foot on the edge of normal society and 1 foot in sort of like hikikomori land, haven't we?
Well, it's kind of interesting to say that because there's a friend of mine moving out by himself, and he had asked me the other day, "Could you live by yourself?" And I was like, "I'd be as happy as a fucking pig in shit by myself." But my hobbies and stuff lend themselves towards that, gaming, watching movies, listening to music and stuff. I don't know, I kind of don't need anybody else to do that with.
But you kind of feel bad. I mean, I used to, especially when I used to live on my own in the flat in Penzance, when the girlfriend moved out. It's a long story, I won't cry. But I was, just sort of like in the house on my own, and I wouldn't talk to someone else for about 3 days, not a real person. Yeah. And you kind of feel a bit weird. Then you sort of get a bit you just feel a bit weird in yourself, and you just feel a bit reclusive. But then, you don't want to go outside, and you can see how it would lead to a complex, and you wouldn't just go out at all.
I could easily go a month, I reckon, without meeting anybody. As long as I can talk to people online, I think, through my phone. Not talk to people. I prefer to like email and text people. I can't be arsed with speaking to people directly on the phone even. I just can't. I don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, I've got the fellow that I work with. I'll email him and say, "Oh, we're sorting this out for next week." And he says, "Phone me when you get in." And I'm like, "I don't want to fucking phone you. I'd rather you just emailed me at my own leisure. I don't want contact with outside people." Yeah, I could quite easily be a shut-in, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm finding as I get older, I used to be able to stay up until like 5 in the morning, then go to work at like 9.
Yeah.
Like playing Medal of Honor and shit. But as I'm getting older now, I just can't do it. I'm like nodding off and falling asleep. Yeah, I used to be able to. Yeah.
Yeah, lightweight.
I distinctly remember once I was playing. This must be 15 years ago. I was playing a game online, and I was so tired. I actually crawled out of my chair and lay down on carpet and just fell asleep in the room, and then just woke up and went to work. Oh, this is ridiculous, isn't it?
That's me during the summer. You like when I'm up here by myself, and doing whatever, I'll just lie in bed and keep on watching Netflix, and eventually just pass out, you know, at whatever stupid time it is. In fact, like last night was the first night I was back here for a while, and you know, I was sitting in the house and I was like, oh fuck, I could do with, you know, bread, cans of Coke, whatever. So I just hopped in the car at fucking 1:30 in the morning and just drove to the 24-hour Tesco.
You know.
Just a little bit of social interaction that I needed or wanted was done there, back home.
I bet you still used the like the computerized checkout though, didn't you?
Of course you do. Yeah. Well, they actually don't have anybody working the checkouts at that time of night. It's all computerized checkouts, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
What if you want to get booze? I suppose there's someone floating around who can like authorize you.
Can't actually do that in after 11 o'clock in Northern Ireland.
All right. I suppose yeah, liquor
License
licenses. And, yeah. Ah.
9 and 11. That's your limits.
Hmm.
The bad is up anyway.
Goddamn prudish state. But no, it is a it is a weird one. I mean, it's I can kind of see it happening with the sort of burgeoning VR market nearly upon us, and sort of, you know, total immersion being ever more real, and now it's been sort of bought by Facebook, and you know, there's sort of major power players behind it.
Yep.
It stands to be a real, well, possibly even a reality, and sort of it's going to be a whole new social problem in, say, 10 or 15 years. I could see why won't people just spend all their time in VR rather than, you know, getting out?
Well, if you can live in a fantastical world, why the fuck would you want to live in ours? Eh?
Yeah.
Thing is, we're lucky enough to, if you're interested, you speak to people online that you share a common interest. If I got to go out to a party or something, I'm stood there talking to people on, I've no fucking idea. I've no interest whatsoever in what they've got to say. It just about shit at me, so I think, well, I'll just not go at all and just stay and talk to people online for people I'm interested in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the internet's made conversation very efficient, hasn't it? You know, you're not fucking wasting any time talking about fucking EastEnders or, you know, lampshades and Emmerdale or whatever. You can just go straight for people who've got plenty in common with and seek them out, and you know.
And it can make you feel kind of ostracised with, you know, being out there in the real world when they want to talk about Love Island. That's what the wife wants to talk about. Fucking hell. Or as I call it, ST Island. That's bad, isn't it? On that thing, I'm gonna betray myself and start talking about it now. They had this sort of game show thing on there with all the fucking idiots, like asking each other questions, and one of them was, if they got it wrong, they'd get a pie in the face. The question was, how many letters are in the alphabet? It's like, oh, stupid, it's 24. Is it? No, it's 25. And it's like, meh, 26. How do these people, like, they're allowed to be an adult and they're allowed to walk around and have a driving license.
And have children.
That's most dangerously, have children or vote. And it's like, what? And how can they go around being these fucking idiots? And I feel myself, I'm there sort of like clawing at my fucking temples. It's like, why am I watching? I'm getting more stupid just watching this. And it's like, I don't know. Should we send them all to an island and then sink that island? I think
Ireland?
we should. Yes, send them all to Ireland. I think we should do a deal with the Greek. We bail them out of money, but we move all these people over to Greece.
The
Send
Irish?
them all out there.
Again, we're still talking about the Irish. God damn it.
Did you see how much this Greek bailout, how much it's actually worth compared to what we've bailed these banks out?
Yes,
I threw a tweet out earlier.
Fucking hell. It's
It's
unbelievable.
stupid, isn't it?
It's frightening, really, when
Like
you put it
a
like that.
bank versus an entire country.
Yeah.
Isn't it? What was it? 2 billion, something like that. 2 billion or
Trillion.
Trillion?
Those American ones were trillion, weren't they? Yeah.
No, I mean, oh, sorry, the Greek bailout was it 200 billion?
Oh yeah, is it
250
250 billion?
Yeah.
And
That's
then
a bit right.
Scottish
And then
Bank,
sort of like, yeah,
RBS and stuff like that's like 500 billion, I think.
there's like 2 or 3 of these big American banks where it's like 2 trillion.
Yeah,
sort of,
trillion.
It's 10 times that amount.
Yeah.
I
Too
gotta
good
be
to
honest
fail.
though.
Yeah.
I see that kind of popular culture. I know everybody else seems to know about it, but it's completely passed me by. Like I know what it is about it on the surface level, but that is about the height of it.
People in suits. Don't trust people in suits.
Doesn't affect my day-to-day
Goddamn
life yet.
bankers.
This is it. I've been lucky enough that I have never worked a day for the man. I have always worked for myself and never had a fucking suit to answer to.
So you want to be the man?
No.
It is that.
You want to be the man? That's what that's the whole goal of the
No. I mean, I've not got a pot to piss in, but I don't. But I don't see myself driving in the rat race. You see these poor bastards on the motorway for days on end, just driving just driving to work. It just must be soul destroying. But they can listen to a podcast like this and even more soul destroying.
That's it. Okay, so let's see. Feebly linking from Japanese culture, we can go to possibly. You want to give out to our old host, Mr. Siam, didn't you, there, Chris?
Oh yeah,
To Kotaku.
Sam's been writing for a bit recently, bit for Rebel, but for Kotaku. He got his first article published for Kotaku this year about RuneScape, and I never actually played RuneScape. Did either of you?
No.
Briefly.
It's like the first free MMO kind of thing. I had an awful lot of students played it as well, just all day and all night, just RuneScape. So it was a story about how Siam conned just an unbeknownst friend over. He did a long con on somebody for a piece of armor. And it's a bloody fantastic read, I have to say. I really, really did enjoy reading, and if you should hunt it out as well. Just type in Siam Ahmed in Kotaku and it'll pop up. Or if you follow Siam on Twitter, he's tweeted and retweeted it a couple of times. But yeah, really good stuff. I mean, I've always thought Sam's a good writer, but that was really, really excellent, I have to say. Good luck to him.
Speaking of the long con, have either of you two ever sort of conned someone out of something else?
No.
You haven't. I'm trying to think. I've done it a few times. I actually played.
Hand in marriage? I don't know.
I played as a. I pretended to be a female when playing an MMO once. I think it may have even been RuneScape. Was it? No. It was an old sort of like 2D, sort of like 3/4 view like Diablo MMO way back in the day.
Right. Okay.
But just because I had sort of like a feminine-ish name and my character happened to be female as well. Yeah, people thought I was female, so I just kind of played it up for a bit.
Yeah,
And they gave me loads of stuff. It's like, oh, should we power level you through this? And I was like, yeah, why not, honey? Just like put that on the end. And,
XO.
yeah, they gave me loads of shit.
I suppose I once... sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I told this story before, but I used to pretend or make out. I never actually said to anybody, but I used to pretend that I was actually a 14-year-old girl. My gamer tag was jailbait for a fucking long time, which I just thought was hilarious. In what going to describe as, self, gratification. Yeah, shame as it turned out. You just wanted to see that jailbait was on a killing spree or something like that in the game, repeatedly, and just wanted that to come up. But same thing, I started getting messages, after games and stuff from people obviously thinking I was a prepubescent fucking girl, and they were like, Jesus, this is a bit odd, but that actually came to a head when my wife came in and says, who the fuck's jailbait? That's me.
Explain that.
And that was the shame. You go, I'll change it, love. I'll change it.
We should start doing prank calls on this podcast.
Oh no!
We can add them in. We should start doing that, sort of phoning up helplines or stuff like that.
Oh, I get so embarrassed listening to stuff like that. I don't know what it is. I sort of cringe when I listen to these prank calls. I'm not a fan, I've got to say. I'll not be on that week.
I've had enough job fucking filling an hour and a half as it is. Jesus Christ! Imagine if I had to phone somebody up and somebody new was trying to have a conversation with us. Shit.
I didn't pretend online. I pretended in real life once to be. Have I told you this about when I pretended to be a professional footballer for insurance reasons? Yeah, 20 years ago, I bought a Ford Capri, one of the finest cars I've ever made.
Nice.
A Ford Capri, a beautiful thing. And to insure it, like one of my first cars, and I got to have it, so I went and bought it, and insuring it was going to cost like $1,500 or something stupid, even back then. And I thought, I can't afford this, obviously. So I sort of knew a fella. I'll just leave it a bit vague, this, because it is breaking law. And just cut a long story short, I had to ring up and pretend I was a professional footballer on Premiership team's books, where somebody was sorting car insurance out for all his boys, and I had to pretend to be one of his boys that had broken his leg. And I was still a pro footballer, but I wasn't playing anymore. And could he stick me on group insurance and I'd pay such and such? Yeah, that's fine. We'll sort that out. So I got my insurance that way. Bit dodgy. But,
did you ever crash the Capri? Had
No.
See, it didn't. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was illegal. Nobody ever. It only cost you money at the end of the day. Wasn't that truly what happened?
He just had a wig in the glove box. It could pretend to be Peter Beardsley if he did get into bother.
That Capri lived on it went to rack and ruin, and some boys came and gave me 50 quid for a gearbox and engine, and it ran as a bomber car, and it was unbeaten. A 3 litre bomber car, superb machine. Yes.
To be fair, you could have posed you were actually playing for Sheffield United's first team, and nobody would know who the fuck you were either.
Dear. So, gents, let's see, back to our normal stomping ground. Shall we talk about gaming? Has anyone been playing anything good this week? Anything new?
Oh yes.
Go on,
Well,
then.
Go, Christian.
Yeah, it's just for the change. Instead of playing Armour every fucking night, I thought I'd write just for this show. I'd write. This is it. I'm gonna put some effort in and play something different. So I got Her Story. Have you heard of Her Story?
Yeah, I was going to buy it because I don't actually
buy
know,
it.
but it's out on iOS.
Yeah, it's worked well on a tablet. Yeah, if it had been I don't think it's an Android yet. I think it's coming to Android, but I would have got
you're
it.
right.
But yeah, basically, you've got like it costs about £4. It's really cheap,
Oh,
and all
fuck
it is. All it is, it's just hours of like FMV footage, just like really shit, old quality footage, and it's like the story is you've got this old police footage from from 1994 it is. You've got like a British woman who was interviewed by detectives about her missing husband, and you've got this footage and you type keywords and it's like a database. Your computer becomes the computer database. It's like in like Windows 3.1. So you type in it, it's all like really shit quality and that, and you type a search term like murdering. And it comes back with it's all the videos, they're all transcribed as well, so they're all subtitled. So you can type in murder, and any clip that's got the word murder in it, it'll flag it up, and it puts it up so you can view it. But you're only allowed to view 5 clips at a time, so if they say 15 clips involving the word murder, you've got to think of extra search terms. So it's all a bit random, but you get into it, and this actress who's doing it, she's brilliant. She's playing this one part, and like you'll type these words in. You'll sort of, for an example, like say, she'll say something like, "Oh yes, me and John, we love to go out. He love my high heel shoes." Like she'll just drop these like just random terms, and she'll think, "Oh, high heel shoes." So you'll type like high heels in, and it'll come up with some more videos of like he's got a high heel fetish. I mean, this is not what it's about. I'm just like giving you a shit example, like so. It's fucking brilliant. It's like you know, like what's that podcast you got me into? Last year's podcast, that massive podcast. What's it called? Serial. Yeah, Serial. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's not. Yeah, you sort of feel like you're a proper detective trying to piece all this stuff together, and you can take notes. And all reviews I've seen, they've got people with like pages full of notes, they're like seeing it really seriously. I'm just fucking winging it and trying to remember stuff. No, it's really good, and you think right, she's done this, and then all of a sudden there'll be a clip where you think, no, that's bullshit. Now she's lying about that. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, for £4, I'd recommend you get it. It's really enjoyable.
It's quite a clever construct as well, isn't it? Because, I mean, everything is there. It's sort of similar in a way kind of to Gone Home, almost. Yeah. You know, that even though that's a sort of game where you're going through a house and you're sort of like reading sort of just various clues and going through, and it's just a story experience. But everything is there from the minute you could, it's more about the house is just, you know, a mechanism for, you know, you just walking around. All the information is already there, like with Her Story, and it's just what you type in, and it's your own experience of you going through it, isn't it? And sort of like linking all the various things together. It is pretty clever because it's like you create the story as you're going through, isn't it? All the information is already there, all laid out. It's just you. It's the sort of the clever sort of, rather than the game sort of spelling out the story for you and saying, oh, now he went there and did that. It's you yourself sort of saying, oh, then she must have gone over here and done this. And you are piecing the story together and making logical... It's sort of like the cart leading the horse.
That's it,
around,
yeah.
And
That's it, yeah.
It's quite clever that way. It's a shame more games aren't like it.
It's very clever.
Well, I think we're going to get more games of that ilk anyway, that are, you know, nearly platform independent. You don't need any special control scheme for it. You don't need... You know, you can kind of play it on anything that's carried around your pocket or on your PC or whatever. You know, those are the...
It would be nice to just dip into it for 5 minutes here and there. I mean, I'm having to just sit down and play on my PC, so I can't do that. But if I could just like sit, waiting for my son at school, and just think, I'll just watch a couple more videos, you know, that'd be really good. The only thing that does piss me off about it is when you do click a video, it takes like 2 seconds to load up, which sounds like nothing, but oh no.
2
but
seconds.
When you're used to instant videos, I don't know if they've done that on purpose or whether it's like fucking, whether it's all compressed or what. But you've got this little sector show. You've got like a hard drive sector view, and you click on it, and it shows you how many sectors you've read, basically showing you how many clips you've already seen. Now there's about 300, something like that. So you can finish it without seeing all the clips. You can get to end, but I'm not entirely sure what the end game is. If I've got so far, I've about how many hours? I'm about 2 or 3 hours into it, I think now. and I'm feeling like I've got to be getting close to the end of it, but I'm sort of stuck. I can't think of any two-word combinations. I can't think of any combinations. You could just put random shit in and try and...
Fisting monkey.
Sensible cadaver. That's what that.
But yeah, check it out. It's brilliant. It's good. It's by a fellow that did Silent Hill, I think. What's he called? Sam Barlow, is it? I've never played Silent Hill, but...
Gary Barlow.
Gary Barlow, it's by
Wow.
Gary Barlow. A fat dancer, I take that. Oh, that's Robbie Williams, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can we full circle? Yes.
Good stuff. Has anyone else, Chris, have you played anything new or just going over old ground?
No, well, I decided to play Batman
Oh.
On the PC?
on the PC, yeah,
Oh,
but not
dear.
the fucking new one.
Oh.
In fact, no, not that Arkham Knight, because two games that had barely touched, Arkham City and Arkham Origins, both sitting in my Steam library, which I'd barely done anything with, and I thought, right, I've given Arkham City about 4 goes on 4 different platforms. I've played it on PS3, I've played it on fucking PC, I've played it on Xbox. None of them were working for me, but I went through it and I thought, I'll just keep going away, because you get caught up in the hype of a new game, and for all intents and purposes, the old games are the same as the new games, in essence, you know, rather
Yeah.
than being the new shiny, and everybody was doing that kind of stuff, so I went ahead and played it, and I got through it in about 3 days, which is really unlike me, to be honest. And I don't know what my problem was with it before. I really, honest to God, don't. I mean, it moved. Arkham Asylum was in that set place, and it was full of kill rooms. You know what I mean? You went from one room to the next, and there's kill rooms. And there's an aspect of that within the game for this, but this one you're kind of flying about the city. But I mean, once I got to the idea that the flying about the city or the using the hook and or whatever around the city was just like driving from point to point in like a GTA game. That changed, that didn't bother me at all. I wasn't stopping along the way to go and talk and take down a few thugs, or answer the phone, or doing that nonsense. It was just going to the next location where the next bad guy was, and then going through the process of that. And some of the gameplay in it's quite clever, and some of the combat, well, Batman combat is Batman combat. I mean, it's exactly the same. I didn't find it particularly hard at any stage either, which was good. Just a couple of bits that were hard, a couple of riddles challenges that did for a while, and then completed some, gave up on others. So that was pretty good. Although I think I'm done with Batman for a while. I thought maybe when I finished it, I'd want to go out and buy Arkham Knight or something, but I think I'm kind of done with that for about another 6-8 months, something like that. And I'll go on and I'll play something else. So I've kind of got my head in a space of just playing a couple of new games rather than just playing the one. So I was playing loads of stuff. I mean, what else to play? Splatoon. Anybody here got a Wii U?
Nope.
No.
No. Who would have thought that Nintendo were the people that were going to make a shooter that I really liked?
They reinvented the
I'm-
shooter.
I don't know if they reinvented the shooter. But they've done a really funny thing with this game. It's like a third-person shooter, although you can't play it as a first-person one if you hold the wee screen up in front of you. You can do it like that, or you can just hold it down on your knee and play away. They've created this game where they've released with like limited content, so there is a single-player story in it which nobody seems to play, but I've played a bit of, and it's actually quite good because it kind of trains you in how to traverse and use the mechanics in the game. Basically, the idea is you play as a squiddy human person, and you get a gun that shoots paint.
Oh, yeah.
Good, colourful paint. And if you shoot paint down in front of you, you can swim in the paint rather quickly, so you can traverse quickly. And the other thing about it is you kind of go a bit hidden when you're turning this squid and swim through your paint. So it sets up this really like free-flowing traversal combat.
Is everyone a squid?
Everybody's a squid. They're like a human. They're 2 legs, but then they can turn into a squid and
Alright.
swim through the paint. But you can only swim through your own paint. So you've got to nearly either follow a track that's already been laid out by your team, or make your own track ahead of yourself. And there's different types of weapons and different types of guns and whatever to do.
Has Nintendo brought a paint roller plug-in?
No, that would have been
For
a good
close
idea.
quarters combat.
a fine brush.
But the idea is that there's no deathmatch mode at all. Apparently that's coming. They released the game with one mode on it, and it was called Turf War. And the only objective of Turf War is it's a 4-on-4 game, and you have to cover the map with more of your paint than the other team can cover with their paint. So you can paint over other people's paint with your own paint, or you can just go ahead and push forward, killing their team, or not. So you can shoot them, but you don't have to. You can concentrate in just around your own area and kind of cover and making sure that's fully covered with paint to go. There's loads of different tactics for doing it. But
can you comically follow somebody around without them knowing you're behind them and just like...
Yeah,
follow
you can.
That'd be class.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can kind of... it's a very legitimate tactic. If somebody's running along, painting in front of them, trying to cover their area, and you can just snake around behind them or squid around behind them, swim around behind them and pop out behind and go... Bing, 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 bing. The rewards for killing somebody are just that you reset them dead for about 5 seconds before they can rejoin the game. So it's not totally prohibitive. It's more about the paint coverage. But, say there's 2 or 3 of them coming in towards you and you can see them coming. Well, you can basically just hide around the corner in the paint as a squid where they can't see you. They'll walk past you, 3 of them, and just go bang, bang, bang. And just take them all down. And if you see them from far off away, you can set that up for yourself. So it leads to some really cool little mechanics where it's not like COD where it is about totally shooting the other team.
Yeah.
You have to do that, and I'm fucking useless at that. Completely useless. As soon as I see somebody, I'll fucking shoot all around them. So the other thing that they've started doing, they do like weekly DLC or every couple of days DLC. They change the maps that you can play on every day. So they restrict that both for ranked games and non-ranked games, and then they've released the second mode of the game now. It came out in May, didn't it? I think middle of May this game came out. So they only released the second mode, which is Control Point, which is basically like... do you remember the TF2 version of the game where you had to take control of...
That minecart one.
The minecart thing, yeah, exactly right. So
payload.
The payload is exactly what you call it, and you pushed it around. So as long as you kind of had control of that, you were on top of it, it'll move forward. Well, there's one control point in this, just much the same. And if you're on top of it and covered with your paint, then it'll push forward. And if the other time it'll push back towards the other base. And it's it's a timed game, and whoever ends up with furthest towards the other base will win the game. So that's only the second game where the game's come out, but it's fucking fantastic. And I can't get over how much fun I'm having with a shooter, because I generally don't like shooters at all.
I think my Twitch muscles have gone. I think I've got the shooting yips. Eric Bristow had in darts where he couldn't release his dart. I think I've got that. You see somebody, and I can't press my button fast enough. I'm like, press it. It just won't do it.
I thought that
That's
was
why
my
I get
bank
with
card.
shooters.
No. Dear. I was going to say I've also been playing an older game, but this is far older than yours. But it's got a even more new life breathed into it. So we've all spent a lot of time in Terraria. Well, me
Yes.
and Chris have anyway, at least.
I've spent an hour in it, but yeah.
Really, only an hour?
I'm willing to go back to it though. Yeah.
You should do. So it's again had another massive content update, all for free. You don't have to pay for any of it. It's just there. It's just updated itself. And sort of before this, I've already spent 80 hours with it. And I only paid like £6 for it in the first place. Money well spent. That was from another recommendation from young Siam there as well. And but no, now it's got even more. It's hard to know at the moment. I've only spent about 3 or 4 hours back in it at the moment, so it's kind of hard to know exactly what is new, sort of in terms of there's lots more bosses apparently. But what you can tell immediately is the sort of procedural generation, all the sort of the new like little events that come up. There's way more of those, whereas before, sort of you would have set pieces like if you kept running to the left from your spawn point, you would eventually come across the dungeon. The sort of spawn dungeon with the old man that sort of becomes like a giant skull monster thing. And if you went to... What happens if you go to the right? No, they've switched it around. It's all... But
The right used to be the jungle, didn't it?
No, the left used to be the jungle, and then the right used to be the old man. But now I ran to the right, and I found like a pyramid tomb that I went down into, and I found a magic carpet in there, which means you can sort of like fly for a few seconds. But yeah, they've just like taken the crazy that was already in that game and sort of added a zero to it again. It's just even more fucking crazy, and all the different materials now sort of they've just added more. So I've decided to start a new character, and as I say, I've only put about 4 hours in it, but it's definitely harder. You've got now choices for like a hardcore world where if you die, you don't lose the character. It's not permadeath, but all the enemies are harder, and all the materials are harder, so they're harder to mine out.
Yeah.
But the reward is greater. But no, and also they fixed the online stuff. Because before, remember, it was all fucking port forwarding, and I had to
That's right. Yeah,
go
yeah,
into my firewall directly and open this port and that port. But now it's all fixed. You can just do it through Steam. Just sort of
just
shift
join
tab, join game, and that's it. You're in.
That's
But
pretty cool.
you got to come back. It's really good. It's one of those things. We've got to start bro mining again.
Yeah. Oh,
That's what you do.
it's
Where you just
one of the
like
simplest pleasures in life in gaming.
because ultimately, so bro mining. So, it's like Minecraft, this game. It's like 2D. And some of the really good stuff, like when you get down really deep, that's when you get all the really hard, rare materials. And it's often very good to do that because then you can, get better armor, better pickaxes and this and that. But it's a pain in the arse if you're doing it on your own because you've got to sort of stand on a piece of ground and like chink out like two little, the two little bits of land underneath you and then you drop down one bit. And it takes a while to do that, and it's a pain with the mouse, and it's quite intensive to do that. However, if
you've got to leave yourself a path to go back up as well, so you kind of need to stagger it, so you can jump on the way up.
What you can do though is, with a couple of good friends, you can bro mine. So basically, you stand sort of all really close to each other, and you say, right, I'm taking the left-hand pixel of ground. Your friend is taking the middle one, the other friend's taking the right one, and you just say, bro mine! And you just start digging downwards, and you all sort of like keep sort of falling down, and you don't even have to move your mouse, you just hold the mouse button down, and you sort of dig a really deep hole really quickly.
Alright.
Yeah.
And it's you just have to like make a way back up with platforms and whatever when you're sort of jumping back up. But it means you can, it's really fun as well, because you're sort of digging down and someone's getting caught up in a bit of stone and they're sort of falling behind a bit. But ultimately, you're sort of creating
I can see your cynicism.
It's
But
great.
it's a bit like if you had the 12-year-old had told you that wanking was so good. You know what I mean? And you'd have went, oh, fuck, that sounds like it would probably hurt me. I think you're fucking, you're talking
get locked
up
down.
a bit too
You'll go
much.
blind,
Oh,
that's why I've
come
got
on.
glasses
I'm not
on.
fucking trying that. Then you do it. Yeah.
Bro mining is like wanking.
Is
magic.
there a limit to how deep you can go? Is it like Minecraft where you fall into wherever the fuck you fall into and die? Or?
No, eventually you fall into hell. You get so deep and you hit lava and there's sort of like buildings down there and sort of all these flying demons and stuff.
Yeah. That's
And
very
if you get from another enemy, if you get like a little voodoo doll and you throw it into the lava, then you get one of the bosses called the Wall of Flesh coming after you. That's just like a giant, wall of flesh going from one side of the screen to the other, and you have to like outrun it while shooting at it. It's really good. But then you get lots of good items if you kill the Wall of Flesh and you unlock the sort of new game plus. But who knows? So it's like Minecraft but with bosses and more gamified, and it's a really good game. I'm going back to it.
Yeah, it is a great game. It doesn't take very much to get you enthused. It's one of those games you always wonder why you stop playing it. You know what I mean?
You've got to get over the hump. This is the thing. Sort of going back into it now, you've got to get over a bit of the hump. I've hit about 2 hours in, and it's like, oh god, I've kind of got iron equipment, and a meteorite's fallen somewhere, and I've got to kind of do that. But I'm too weak, and all the enemies, these flying, flaming footballs that come out after you when you find a meteor, they're killing me off too quick, and I can't really mine it because I'm trying to blow it out with dynamite. And I've hit a bit of a hump at the minute, but I get there. I think I might sort of south bromine and sort of get down deep and try and get some diamond, that sort of thing, so I can get a decent pickaxe. I think that might be the next move.
The only time I did play it, my two friends were playing it quite seriously, and I just kept fucking about, flooding their mines and stuff like that. So I was just ended up getting called every name under the sun, so I called it a day.
You'd have been fucking popular. Yeah.
Talking of using pickaxes, I used the Steam refund system for the first time this week.
Ah,
Excellent.
Flawless, it works because I use PayPal to pay, and I use the 14 days deferred payment on PayPal.
oh, right.
I've always used it. I don't know why. I must have been skint one week and I just left it on. So it just seems alright. So anyway, I installed Ark. What is it? Evolved.
Survival
Dinosaur riding simulator.
That's it, yeah, we're talking about it. So I installed it and I played it for about an hour. I've tried it 3 times. And apart from it looking absolutely shit on my PC, I can't get it looking any better than it's going to look. And it's sort of
I don't think it's a good looking game at all. I think it's just
unless you've got like a fucking supercomputer, it's it's just immersion breaking for me. First thing my eyes are just looking all over Ireland. I'm thinking, no, it's just spoiling it straight away. As good as it can be.
Say it's immersion breaking, but the fact that you're riding around a dinosaur is fine.
That's all right. It did it in the Flintstones.
So yeah, I thought, oh no, fuck this. And I was glitching, no, things were breaking, and I'm thinking, oh no, fuck this. So it's undeleted today, and I've got an instant refund because I've got this. I thought it'd be a couple of weeks until I got refunded, but no, it's just like so. Yeah, half an hour later, got a full refund. So
wow,
very good.
That's awesome.
That's not so bad. Have you seen that? With the refunds, Green Man Gaming are also. They haven't given a refund yet for Batman.
Yeah.
What was it called? Arkham Knight. They haven't quite given a refund yet. They haven't sort of followed exactly in Steam's tracks, but they've said after the first update comes out, if it still isn't fixed, then we give you a refund.
Oh.
So that's it. So I think the problem with that is they sort of sold Batman for like 30-40% off like a couple of weeks before it was released as well. So they've already like taken a bath on that already, and they really don't want to have to, refund them because then
they have a VIP membership for people who've bought off them before, where they give them things pretty ridiculously cheap, to be perfectly honest. And I think they just to keep a hold of the custom. That's the kind of hit that they take, which is really interesting. I have to say.
I mean, when I bought that, what did I buy? Evolve. No, Evolve. Yeah, the that fucking game that I played about 20 minutes of. Yeah, I was gonna say I bought that for like 20 quid, like about 9 months before it came out. I think.
Yeah.
But, that was money down the shitter, wasn't it? I really should try that game. It just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't grab me, that one.
I think, one of the things, it sold itself as being Left 4 Dead, but one of the things about Left 4 Dead is that basically anybody can play Left 4 Dead without any, totally pick up and play. You point your fucking cursor at a zombie, you pull the trigger and you shoot, and that's it, done. Evolve seems to have so many moving mechanics, between the classes and, the hooking and hunting and trapping and following the scent and then evolving up, too much moving parts.
You have to specialise. You get a group of friends and just specialise at one thing and just get good at it, aren't you?
Yeah. And it's probably, I don't know, it also run like an absolute fucking dog, I think. Which didn't help it either, but...
There we go. Has anyone got anything else gaming-wise they want to mention before we move on?
Yes, I'd like to mention what I was talking about the other week.
Yes.
I said I was going to try Elite Dangerous without doing any fucking reading up whatsoever, so that's what I did. Although, no, I tell a lie. Chris said just at least try the hanger, get used to...
The docking.
Yeah, docking, yeah. So I just did that just to make sure my joystick was working alright, and yeah, I've got a... What's it called? Your hat switch on your joystick. Your thumb hat, yeah. So I mapped that to on my thrusters, up, down, left, right. An absolute piece of piss docking and everything. Got it absolute first time. So I'm happy with that. Apart from, first time I tried docking, I was back to front. And I'm thinking, what won't fucking work?
That happened to me as well.
Why is this not working? And I think, you got to turn it around.
Did it do the countdown thing in you? Do you know what it says? No. So if you it gives you like a window to dock in Elite. So you get 10 minutes to dock. And then if you don't dock quickly enough, it starts basically saying you're trespassing in this area. You need to fucking dock quickly, or else we'll fucking shoot you out of the sky. So basically, if you take too long and you're still loitering around, they'll fucking shoot your aircraft down and blow it up to bits. So the timer comes up at the top of the screen, and I remember the fucking first time, but the problem was, do you know the way the docking stations are completely cylindrical, so you fly into the port, and you have to basically find where the number of the dock is that you gotta find. Could I find the fucking number for love and money? And I wasn't au fait enough with the controls of, spinning myself around and orientate myself well enough to be able to... It took me about fucking 2 minutes to turn myself around when I was in one fly path, and I couldn't get round, and then I started going... You are trespassing. You need to dock in 1 minute or whatever the fuck it was, and I was blind panic was taking over. I was fucking started biting into things, and then that was getting everybody else riled up, and I was fucking. I actually didn't wait to get myself shot down. I just logged out mid-game. So anyway, sorry for...
No, you're alright. Yeah, I found that quite easy and loved that. So. Went outside, I had no fucking clue what all these hyperdrives and shit are doing. No idea, so I'm just randomly pressing buttons. What's this do? What's that do? And finally worked out I'd set a course and jumping. You know when you first come out of a jump next to a sun? Oh, fucking hell. That is it. it's up there in one of my favourite gaming moments ever. I was
It's
fucking
fucking
grinning.
sensational. Oh.
It is, I got my headphones and I got it turned up, and those noises and stuff.
It's the visual effect, the sound effects, everything just comes together to go whoomp, and you go, fucking yes!
You feel like don't you? It is amazing. And then my ship's nearly catching fire, and then I didn't realise about fuel or all that shit. So I'm like in absolute middle of nowhere with no fuel to get back. So that ended. So life number one, I just had to fucking self-destruct. So I'm not waiting around. So, but bizarrely, all these systems, how many millions of systems is there?
About
It's fucking
30 billion or
isn't it?
something crazy like that. Yeah.
Do you all start in the same system? If you play multiplayer, do you start in the same one?
No.
Don't
No?
know, actually. I'm not sure. I didn't play enough of it
All right.
to realise
Well,
that.
bizarrely, the system that I went to, which was like just one jump away, had the same name as the bay where I was staying in my caravan last week. Out of all these fucking millions of places, and it's like a Greek name called Ephesus, and that's where I was
Right.
staying. Really? And I'm like, what? Fucking, that's spooky. So I had to go there. Well, that's where I
I
died.
was
So.
watching you. Whoa.
Yeah, but once I got used to using voice control and stuff like that, now for like that voice attack for like using.
Oh,
your
did
hard
you
voice.
install it? Right, okay,
Yeah,
you used that.
Oh, it's fucking amazing. It's just so immersive. I love it. So yeah,
The thing that I find really funny about Elite and Eve and all those space games, it's the one genre of game where people will actually do in and call it enjoyment. You know, every other game will, like Minecraft, kind of is about fetching, gathering, and doing all that kind of stuff, but doing really menial tasks. But there is an end game to using it.
yeah.
Space Sims kind of it is just work. You know what I mean? It is just flying from system to system, gathering data, mining. You know, there is no fun bit where you put it together at the end, other than, God, I'll use this to buy a better ship. You know what I mean? Just like a capitalist society. And it almost struck me that I've done it as well, and it's really enjoyable. But why is that one genre game able to pull that off, and everything else is just like, well, this is no fun?
I don't know. I mean, Farming Simulator is always kind of there. I mean, that's just sort of like doing really menial, sort of like boring tasks, but you kind of do them because, I don't know, it has to be done.
But when I played that with my son, I used to set you get an AI called Simon or something like that. We just set him going on a
Simple
tractor. And, we just set him going on a tractor like, oh, let's just set him on combine in this field. We can't be arsed.
Did you like to sort of try and throw shit in his way, like put stuff in his way, see what would happen?
Yeah, with all sorts of shit. It's brilliant. It's a good crack, that game. But yeah,
But
these
it's
days.
strange.
Yeah,
Like Shenmue as well, isn't it? That was sort of that had jobs in it as well, and it's a whole sort of Japanese like weird culture, isn't it, of sort of doing jobs just for the sake of doing a job, isn't it? They seem to take pride in
Yeah.
doing a job well, even if it is like being a bin man or whatever. It's just
Handyman. Is that what Carl Pilkington did on? Did you see that one where he went to Japan and did that? You're like a handyman for a day, basically. And they just ring him up. He just gets calls to just go all over the city and just do odd jobs for people. Fucking brilliant. Well, that best job in the world, honestly.
That's kind of what I do. Apart from I just go to restaurant kitchens and fix their stuff. But yeah, I used to do domestics. I used to sort of be a domestic, so I used to go around all the horny housewives fixing their washing machines and cookers and that sort of
Oh,
thing.
I've seen that film.
I mean, that's why I got the job in the first place. I'd seen all these Carry On films, and I thought, right, here we go. I'm gonna be up to my arse and crumpet, crumpet. And the closest I got, I did it for like 2 years, domestics. The closest I got was I was on my back on the floor doing a dishwasher, sort of trying to pull out a drain pump. An old lady, she was about 50, sort of woman, offered me like a cup of tea, and it was early. I knocked in the door at like 8:30. And she sort of goes, oh, do you want a cup of tea? Yeah, okay. And she like steps over me, just wearing her dressing gown, and I saw right up sort of thing. She wasn't wearing nothing on underneath. That was the closest I got in 2 years. I don't know if she wanted me to see that.
Split tennis ball. Did you see many packets of Daz? Didn't they used to say in the 80s, you put like bored housewives, husbands away, they'd stick a packet of wash powder in the bottom, something like that. I said, oh, come round to see me. I don't know why a packet of wash powder. And the White Arrow, I'm sure I've not made this up. There used to be a delivery firm in around here called the White Arrow. They're like a courier service. And if you saw the white, did you like put a blue piece of paper with a white arrow drawn on it so a delivery man could find your house easier? And like they reckon if you put it upside down, that means husband's away, come and give me a knock and we'll have a bit of how's your father. The upside down white arrow. It might be like one of those apocryphal tales. It might be bullshit.
Yeah, I think it's like Playground Tales, that one. I don't know if that's true.
Just getting back to Elite for a minute.
Yeah.
When I I remember months and months ago, I said I didn't know whether to get Elite because might be a bit of a grind, like you just said there.
Yeah.
And I also got Star Citizen. And have you seen this week? They've said that FPS module on Star Citizen's gone tits up. They got like a full fucking first-person shooter built into it as well, and it's like indefinitely on hold now. It's like totally gone tits up that bit. So it's all of a sudden the dreams collapsing on that game already. How many fucking millions is it in the Kickstarter?
It's I don't know. That game seems like sometimes games can be too big for their own boots. If you know what I mean, they try and do too much rather than making the game that people just want. I mean, who the hell really wanted a first-person shooter bit of that game? They wanted to fly about and ships and dogfighting and all that stuff. It's great.
I don't know, but it's sort of like all games for all people, isn't it? It's because they sort of left it ambiguous enough that it's people sort of interpreted and sort of said, oh yes, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be trading, and oh, it's going to be 5 people flying this ship, and it's going to be, and you know, it sort of like kind of got out of hand just the enthusiasm for it, which is good in one way because people have sort of put, you know, dropped $10,000 on it and that sort of business. But then it's bad in another way that now when the shit hits the fan and they've got to kind of show something that's working, and oh, we kind of said we'd do this as well, that they're going to have to try and jam it all together.
Yeah, they're going to have to produce it. Yeah, that's true.
Part of me kind of wants it to fail, though. Just because people want it so much, it makes me want it to fail. Does that mean I'm broken inside? I don't know, but because people have put so much money into it and they're saying, no, it's going to be the best game ever and it's going to make Elite look shit. That just makes me want it to fail. I don't know why.
I know what you mean.
I know why, because you didn't buy
Because
it.
you've not got any invested in it.
You're like, well, fuck. It justifies the position that I spent fuck all on this. Everybody else in the world was spending hundreds of pounds. I said, no, I know.
It's like watching National Lottery on a Saturday and not buying it. Fucking yes. Look at this, I'll show you. That's £2 I've saved, you bastards.
Okay. I get to watch Dale Winton for free.
There's nobody sits watching the lottery going, with the piece of paper beside them going, well, these are the numbers I would have done. These are the numbers I would have done. Right, let's see if they come up. Nobody fucking does that game. Because of fucking, you know, very miserable people if the fucking numbers come up.
Oh, did you watch that No Man's Sky video this week as well?
I did.
It looks, I can't wait to play that. I don't know why, because again, it's, why is this to do apart from land on a planet and take some photos?
Nothing to do. I don't get it. It's like I keep on seeing videos for that game that go. You know, people have been saying they're not really sure what the game is, so we thought we'd spend another 20 minutes showing you exactly what the game is. And you watch another 20 minutes of the game, and you go, I'm still not sure what the fuck you're doing. You know, here's a goat attacking you. You can shoot it.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
And
Day one. Day one. I can shoot goats.
Doesn't it look beautiful though? It
does. It does. It really does look beautiful.
But it looks. I'll be buying it. I can guarantee you, I'll buy that. But I don't know what we're gonna do.
I don't know. Like, I'm gonna fly. You're gonna fly to your planet, right? And then you're gonna go. You're gonna scan. That seems to be the game. Is you scan for stuff. It sounds a bit like Elite. If I'm really honest, it sounds like you accrue information for a place that nobody else has seen, and you sell that information for credits, and then use that credits to buy ships and upgrade for your guns and stuff. That seems to be the game.
What's that game from 10 years ago, maybe, where you put in as a female and you took photographs of things?
Jade something. Yeah. Oh, and your uncle is a pig.
Yeah.
She was called Jade.
Beyond Good and Evil.
That's it. Yeah. Pretty cool, that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Photos of shit. Instead of shooting shit, take photos of shit.
But, you know, there was a very solid platformer and puzzle element of that game as well. You know, it wasn't just that. That's the whole point. There was an actual storied game and a story and all that kind of stuff rather than being open-ended. I don't know. No Man's Sky just...
Yeah. It's slightly off topic, but what I just said there, shooting shit instead of... photograph shit instead of shooting shit. You ever seen that lake? I think it's like a gun that's... it's a rifle, but it's got a camera built into it. So you're shooting wildlife. You got a trigger. You're like this, and I see a fox. You shoot it, but you're actually taking a photograph of it down a rifle. So you could have killed it, but you took a brilliant photograph of it instead. Fucking great idea, that.
Talking of which, the last game I'm going to talk about is Life is Strange, which is about a girl who's at college studying photography. Like, you didn't even know that was going to be a great link, but it was a great link. It's an episodic, like, Telltale type game, but made by Ubisoft or Don't Know or No, or that, I know that's what you call the studio anyway. You know what, that game's really fucking good. I bought it when it came out, and the episode 1, played the first episode, you know, thought it was okay, put it away, and then didn't play episode 2, didn't buy episode 2 when it came out, didn't buy episode 3, but when episode 3 came out, all of a sudden loads of people started going, this is fucking incredible. And it's gone, really? Seems to be a game that's just a mechanic around this girl can rewind time. Have we done that before? I think so. You know, it didn't seem to be that interesting. Yeah, exactly. So, I started playing it, and they're right. It's really fucking good. It's really, really good. It's let's just say this. You know, it's a game where they sell it that your choices have consequences. You know, the things that you do in the game have consequences. So, let's just say at the end of one of the chapters, there's something happens in the game, and I actually, as the cynic in me said, well, you know, Telltale games tell me that it wouldn't have mattered what the fuck that I did. You know, that would have changed the outcome of that situation. Well, shit, I thought I'd done all I could to get what I wanted to be a favourable outcome of that situation, but I just plain fucked up, because I was in the 35% of people that couldn't prevent that happening, and I was like, holy shit. That really was, like, that was a really major...
You could have done something. Yeah.
I could have done something about that, although the whole time when I was playing it, I was thinking to myself, well, you know, this is one of these illusions of choice. But, yeah, if you haven't picked up Life is Strange, dare say, when episode 4 comes around, which should be kind of soon, the way things are going, it'll come out in a deal, you should be playing that game, especially if you like those kind of, you know, point-and-clickery, adventure story games that go out, you know.
Is there any sort of, like, so in the sort of conversation, in the choices, is there any time, like deadlines, like when you, like the options come up and you have to pick one of the options in a certain time?
Not that I can think of, but the other thing they do to negate that as well is that every time you kind of make a choice, anytime you make a choice, you can always rewind time and change it. You know, if you want to see how the conversation played out, you know, they ask you to make a choice and you go, well, I don't really know where this is fucking going. You can play out the thing, rewind and play it the other side, and then go, right, okay, I'll rewind back and change. I'll take that version, which kind of negates an awful lot of those. I often think bits pointed out. You know where they say, do you want to say this, this, or this? And then the person says something, and you go, well, that's not what I fucking wanted them to say. You know, they kind of said something completely different, and it annoys you. Yeah. So that I always find that very frustrating in those types of games. But this negates that some ways. So.
The only reason I say is the wife. I mean, I started trying to play The Wolf Among Us with the wife around, because I thought this would be great. You know, sort of story driven. Oh, look, what would you do in this situation? You know, it's much more. It's sort of like trying to bring the wife into games. However, she's not the best of readers. I sort of blame it on she wasn't actually diagnosed as being astigmatic when she was a kid. They just said, oh no, you've got dyslexia. So she never even bothered sort of practicing how to read in the first place. Yeah. So she's, I'm sort of training her up now. But she's not the quickest, so especially when, these decisions come up and you've got about 3 seconds and you've got the 4 options. And she'll just go, and it's, I'll just go, fuck it, and I'll hit one. And I end up playing the game because then she'll get despondent after that. And I'll end up playing the game and she'll lose interest and fall asleep.
Sounds like her story is perfect for that, though.
Yeah, I was thinking of getting my missus involved with her story as well, but then I thought, nah, fuck it.
Fuck her.
This is the thing, we all kind of, I've tried this with my wife, going, I'll get her into games, but then see if she really was into them. It would cut into my fucking time. You know what I mean? I don't want, she'd be going, play this, and I'd be going, I don't want to fucking play that. I want to play my own games, or whatever,
Yeah, I'm not jealous of anybody in life, but when I see sometimes these Twitch streamers, when they've got some bird, like the missus or the bird playing games with them in the same room and stuff, I'm thinking, that would be so cool when he can talk about that. Be nice. Dream.
I don't know. Would it?
That'd be good. I don't know. It seems to be like it would cut out an awful lot of potential conflict within the home of you, right? 8 o'clock comes, we're going to sit and play games all night. That would be fucking great without having to go. I'm just
You hear
popping
about
out
it,
to I'll go down and fold some clothes down the garage, love. And
And it's a meep when the computer turns on about 15 seconds later. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'd really work out if the missus was super into games. But yeah, if there's no time deadline on decisions, then yeah, I think it might be worth it, that one.
Yeah.
So, back to a world where my wife has. What should we do next? Should we talk about TV shows? Not really, or should we just go straight into the music battle?
The music.
What do you think?
Yeah,
So we've been
do
going
music
for a while
battle.
now, haven't we? So
Yeah, go for music battle.
okay. So thanks, Dan. I can see why he wasn't on now, but yeah. So it's been running now for 2 weeks. We had Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. I was going to say the Pet Shop Boys again. I've been saying that all fucking week. That would have been a better album, but that's kind of foreshadowing. So we have Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys against Rush of Blood to the Head by Coldplay.
Coldplay.
So two very, very different albums, kind of, from the outside. However, in a way, they are similar albums in that they are sort of entire pieces, maybe. You should sort of consider them as an album in themselves rather than sort of separate tracks
Yeah.
jammed together into, a collection of tracks in an album.
Well, that's kind of why I picked that Coldplay album. I mean, there's people like lots of Coldplay albums, but I consider Rush of Blood to the Head to be the one that is the start to finish kind of, piece, the theme or idea piece, if you want.
This is true. I mean, one is about the California sound, isn't it? The
Summertime's Here, which seems to work,
But is it a
Wimbledon's
California
here.
sound? See, I didn't hear a California sound at all.
What is the California sound?
What is the California sound exactly? What is the California sound? I mean, when I listened to Pet Sounds, I was hearing like after the couple of tracks, I felt like it took me to a place like a clear blue sky and a cold morning. I really don't understand why. I don't understand.
Yeah, I can kind of see why, because, the calling card of Beach Boys is their harmonies, right? Brian Wilson's harmonies are the calling card of them. But they are kind of hollow. They're not like classic modern day harmonies where everything's kind of very rich. Theirs are very like cat calling, nearly, the kind of like howling in the wind and that
Sort
kind
of
of stuff.
high end, yeah, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of bass in the harmonies, yeah.
Exactly right. So I can see why we get kind of the cold blue sky kind of
It
idea
might have
from
been
that.
like a subconscious thing because when I first listened to it, I mean, I picked this album because I shouldn't be allowed to pick any albums anymore after this one. Because I was fucking sick of listening to this after I listened to it 5 or 6 times in 1 week.
It was hard going, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. And then it started growing on me, and I'm thinking, could this overtake Coldplay? Because there's a few mum rock tracks on Coldplay's album, and there's no mum rock on this. So,
You're correct.
but as I'm listening to it, I'm thinking, this sounds like fucking Phil Spector's Christmas album. And no, seriously. And I'm thinking, this is making me feel a bit Christmassy. And I looked into it, and apparently you were a massive Phil Spector fan, and he were trying to like ape his sound on a lot of this album. So his production is a bit Phil Spector-y. So that's why I felt like it was a fucking clear blue sky and a frosty cold morning, staring into distance in a park. That's what I felt.
I said this the other week. My feeling throughout the album was like it is a very hallowed album, and one that, like, when I was growing up, certainly I'm sure you were the same, Kristen. People went, "Oh, Pet Sounds." Now there is an album. That is you talk about classic albums, that's the one you want to talk about. But I just got this kind of feeling of, like I said, like they all just got bought instruments for Christmas, and they thought, right, let's write a wee song. Let's write a wee song, right? You come up with some words. I'll bang away on the drums here, and we'll hit press record. And an awful lot of the songs felt kind of like they'd been done in about 2 minutes. Were being put together very, very haphazardly and very, very quickly, with a couple of very notable exceptions.
It feels like they've been written into a contract almost that you must produce this album, and it's like, oh fuck, fellas, right, we've got to come up with 10 other tracks. They've got a few bangers, and they've already got their sound down, and this is it, and they've got like an order to fill, and it's like, ooh. Well, a lot of it didn't actually feel like, oh, this song really means something. This song,
this was born out of pain or anything,
This is about the time I went here and did this. It was more like just harmonies, sort of going on and more of the same. But I mean, is it more of us just looking back now and we're not really a part of that time? was this anything sort of really revolutionary when it came out? Was this a whole new sound that
This is it.
hit the world?
I looked at that year, what came out in that year, and there's absolutely fuck all. Apart from Beatles, this is supposed to be a response to is it Rubber Soul that came out just before this?
Right, yeah.
This is supposed to be his response to Rubber Soul. He thought this, like Brian Wilson thought, this Rubber Soul's best album ever made. Well, I've got to do one to beat that, basically. But then Beatles have said there'd have been no. Is it Sgt. Pepper's that came out after this? I think.
Yeah.
They said there'd have been no Sgt. Pepper's if they'd not have heard this, apparently. So.
Well, see, the thing about it is, for as much as we're kind of bashing the Pet Sounds, it has the best track of either album on it by an absolute country mile, in my opinion. I think God Only Knows is one of the greatest songs ever written.
Yeah.
Is that because you heard it in Bioshock Infinite?
No,
by
I've
the
always
Barbershop
thought that God Only Knows was just it didn't never fit with the rest of that sound that came out. You know, I Get Around and all that. You know, all that other Beach Boys stuff that went around. This was properly crafted, and the harmonies in God Only Knows were of another. Like I said before, the other ones felt very hollow and tinny and very high pitched and not very much bass. These felt quite full, you know, and very well developed. It felt like they'd written this one song, they needed to release this song, and they had to write another fucking 12 tracks to go with it, to get it out, to get that song out in an album somewhere. I think God Only Knows is spectacularly good track, that unfortunately isn't supported by enough weight around it. But just my 2 cents about the Pet Sounds. Cool play though. I haven't mentioned that very much.
Not yet. I was going to say, I think my last part on the Beach Boys Pet Sounds, I would say my last bit is, were they kind of proto-hipsters? Do you think just they let the image take over, the sort of the mysticism and magic of the music overtake them and sort of like let that, you know, sort of go out ahead of them? Were they the proto-hipsters of music? Like, I mean, was this the album where... Was it the one with Brian Wilson where he actually had a sandbox installed? He sort of like, you know, famously sort of like shipped in huge amounts of sand into his living room, sort of like all beneath his piano, so he could actually feel the sand between his toes as he sort of like tinkled out the ivories and all that. Were they musical hipsters before their time?
Wankers? Did you say wankers or hipsters?
Do you think? I don't know. I mean, do you think the sort of the magic and the marketing sort of got out there and sort of propelled them further than they could have ever gone if it was just the talents?
Well,
you know, the musical
as
talent.
far as I was aware, the Beach Boys weren't a big band before Pet Sounds was released. Pet Sounds was the one that catapulted them. And actually, you know, I think it was it I Get Around would have been the first track or whatever. One of the first tracks hit big time because it hit like a time and a place thing, as many songs and tracks do. You know, they just capture a feeling of, you know, a generation. And you know,
I think, like I said before, this album is. The reason I picked it is because it's always on these top 100 albums of all time lists. It's always up there, and I've never properly listened to it. And but these lists, I remember I've heard Danny Kelly, broadcaster Danny Kelly. He used to be, I think he used to edit Q magazine back in the 90s, and I've heard him say these lists they used to do at end of year, they just go to Boozer and get pissed up and just make some up basically in 5 minutes. All these readers lists, they just totally right. This is top, this is second. Take 5 minutes to do it, bang it down, done. So all these top 100 lists, they can't always be trusted. I think Pet Sounds is just always, it's like, oh yeah, Pet Sounds, oh you've got to like Pet Sounds, yeah, it's got to be on there, but nobody's really fucking listened to it. If they said they've not heard it, they don't sound cool, do they? So I'd just like to say as well, the song Pet Sounds on Pet Sounds, if you listen to it, I think I said to you, Chris, if you listen to this song when you know it was written as a Bond theme tune with no lyrics on it, right? And you listen to it again when you know it's a Bond tune, and it takes on a whole new what's the word? Can't think of a word to describe it. It's fucking
meaning,
brilliant anyway. That's the meaning, yeah. You haven't ever listened to it. Now you know. Now you're armed with that.
I will do in a minute, yeah.
Yes. Anyway, yes.
Moving swiftly along to another band whose first album went kind of unnoticed to their second album where the marketing got behind it, and they got massive. Coldplay's Rush Your Blood to the Head.
Unnoticed?
Kind of. I loved the first album. Look, I've got Parachutes on tape and on CD.
Massive.
Was it massive?
Yeah, well, Yellow was fucking it was top 10. It was top 2 maybe. Don't Panic was top 10. Shiver was top 10. Yellow
Right.
was, you know, there were lots.
Don't
top
step
10
on my
songs.
segues. I'm
Sorry,
trying my best
go
over
ahead.
here.
So,
In my
like,
pyjamas.
I
I'm trying
will
my
agree
best.
that Merciful of the Head stepped them off into, like, they were an accomplished band by that stage, and the marketing teams of the record companies went, right, money maker, here we come.
Yeah, rubbing their hands together. And they released, I don't know, they had the sort of advert factor, if you will. I mean, sort of several of the tracks. I know Christian referred to them as mum rock. But I mean, again, so like, God Put a Smile on Your Face.
Oh, that's brilliant.
What a
that-
song.
The Scientist is what, I mean, that's sort of like very
Shocking.
advert friendly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
In My Place, Mum Rock.
Mum Rock,
Yeah.
complete Mum Rock. Politic, spectacular.
It is, yeah,
As,
yeah.
as a great side A, track A, as
Mm-hmm.
I think there is. I think Politic is spectacularly good.
But yeah, the tracks themselves, I mean, they're really good. I mean, it's the emphasis isn't on the vocals. It's more about the music and letting itself. It's about the negative space of the album, really, and letting it's almost like an instrumental track, sort of on a track that's say 5 minutes long, because all the tracks are fairly long. 3 minutes of it are just music without vocals and sort of letting itself breathe.
Yeah,
And
there's
then
a musicality to their stuff. There is. Well, this one especially, this album especially. I think they went down the more the 3-4 minute pop song on later efforts.
I didn't really, yeah. I don't know. I love Coldplay, the first two albums, but then I think they kind of turned into U2 by the time it got to like X and Y. Where he's like
Yeah.
standing around on the stage, waving a microphone around like a twat with his headscarf on. It's like, what are
U2
you
is
doing?
The great comparison for them, because they just sold out for the sake of, we are gonna make a fucking shitload of money here, guys.
And they did.
And they absolutely did.
That's the thing, and it's like his own ego has got like its own postcode. And that by the time X and Y comes out, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and I should have really given the album more of a chance, because I just saw them wanking themselves off on TV and sort of like getting into the whole. It's like Bono up there again, but
Mark
and I
felt tip on back of his hand with like shit on them slogans and shit. Remember that when he would put him market pen in his hand?
Noel Edmonds used to do that as well. Was that like a weird Scientology thing? But anyhow, yeah. But yeah, by this point they hadn't really got out of control, and I think Rush of Blood to the Head is a great album. It's very circular as well. Sort of when the last track rolls around and finishes, if you've got it on repeat, it would roll straight back into Politic again, and off you go again. I do remember having it on loop for quite a few, quite a few plays
I
just
did
in my
that
van.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely worked as that kind of album. Definitely. I think the other thing was, I mean, when this was going around, Radiohead were the love of choice amongst many of our generation, as we spoke before, and the Coldplay were like the poppier version of Radiohead. The first two albums were kind of alternative enough that they were still serious bands. Like you say, when X and Y came out, it was right off the scale into right middle of the road.
It
Here we
was
go.
adverts all over the place, and
Everything was become. It was in fucking the backing track of the latest
Marks and
promotion
Spencer
BBC
advert.
show. Exactly
Yeah.
right.
I think
So,
my
but-
favourite song on that album is that hidden. Is it the one with the hidden one? Is it X and Y that's got that hidden track? And that's the fucking
can
best
find
thing
it.
on it. It's not even. It's not
I've
even.
not
on
given it
the
a
track.
chance.
It's like a shoegazing track. It's fucking brilliant. Yeah. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
But I would say, like, after X and Y, that's when I jumped off the Coldplay kind of train. They weren't the band who I took very seriously anymore, which is pretty sad, because I think Parachutes and Rush of Blood are, as a pair of albums go, there's pretty fantastic.
I like going back. I mean, I quite like Green Eyes. It could be my favourite track on the
Beautiful,
album, but more because that looks like it could have come directly from Parachutes, because Parachutes was
Yeah,
more
that's right.
guitar based and sort of definitely more indie, whereas Rush of Blood to the Head was more produced. Where
It was.
it was still guitars, but sort of like a much more orchestral, sort of bigger production, sort of
Yeah,
electronic
they
production.
they wrote these real grandiose, big tracks, that really started somewhere, went another place, and kind of took you through a whole mix of emotions, like a maelstrom.
And I think
of
they
emotions.
deserve it, to be sure. I mean, they use it well, and they do. It does have the musicality behind it, as you said, that they do deserve to have that whole orchestral thing going on and very grandiose. But I'm more of an indie fan, and I liked the Parachutes just because it was, a few guys and their guitars, just because
Yes.
I like that style more. It's
More
just
introverted
taste.
kind of songwriting, and just him talking
funny
about his
chords.
experiences. Yeah.
I mean, actually trying to play. I mean, you could play it all. I've got the chord book. I've got the guitar book for Parachutes, and it's really simple, sort of really simple and stripped down as well, but just very effective in the way that you sort of play the bass, as well as the sort of treble and the chords you play, and sort of like drop D tuning and stuff like that. That you can tell they are like proper musicians. They're not just pop mongrels. But
Pop mongs.
yeah, or pop mongs. I shorten it down to. But no, I think it shouldn't take anything away from Rush of Blood to the Head. Are we going to pick a winner? Do we pick a winner from this and say which is better, or do we?
Yes.
Well, we usually do, although it used to be that we were competing against each other. But I think in this case, if I was to compare the newer with the old, in this case, the newer Coldplay album is a much better album in my mind.
I
think
would
I'm
say
with you.
purely for in Amsterdam, last song, about 4 minute mark, where that organ, that welling organ, church organ, comes up and builds up, and then it kicks in. Okay, I've got goosepimples talking about it. Actually, on no shit, my breathing actually changed. If I listen to that, my breathing, I start breathing deeper. It affects me that much. That song, it's fucking amazing. So based just on that one, that fucking 30-second bit alone, that wins it for me. Yeah.
I think it does link in as well. I mean, we mentioned it. I say last week, but the last show we had a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Derek, weren't we? And how
Yes,
you should
yeah.
avoid season two. But
I've not watched it. No.
but no, definitely watch. Yeah, if you watch season one and the ending of that, where that was from the X and Y album though. The end, I shan't spoil
Fix
it.
You, wasn't it?
That's right. But yeah, Fix You comes on right at the end in this sort
Oh,
of dramatic scene. And that had me going, that had me weeping. And I was like, oh, you fucking simple
It was
bastard.
beautiful, like it was.
And I fucking hate that song. I saw him. I went.
I
To see,
know, that was the same.
Yep.
I went to see him in Bolton and with Mrs. and they played "Fix You" twice. My fucking least favourite song of the evening, and they played it twice because they shot fucking video for it. They shot it once and I thought, oh, thank fuck, that's finished. They said, right, we're gonna play this. We're playing this again now because we're shooting video for it. So I'm like, for fuck's sake, let's get this out of the way. And that was the moment when I
Fix
fell out
You's
with
really
Fix
overplayed
You.
and trite and sicky and it's like I wrote the lyrics for it when I was fucking 10. You know what I mean?
As compared to like in Amsterdam, stood on the edge tied to a noose. You came along and you cut me loose. That fuck that's just amazing. That is, yes, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Motivational songs for the masses. So moving on for next week, next time we record, I picked an album. I just sort of plucked one at the top of my head. I've heard a couple of, well, not even whole tracks, but I've just had a couple of snippets from it this week, and I'm like, that was a really good fucking album. I am going to pick for this week as the old guard, Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Is my album that I'm putting
Well,
forward.
the album's called Nevermind, but
Oh shit!
but never mind that. But yes, I get you.
But no, Smells Like Teen Spirit is the first track. That is my cock up.
Bloody fantastic album.
Never
too, By
mind.
the way, great
By
pick.
Nirvana.
Great pick. I'm gonna pick the new.
The new
Nirvana, we're trying to pick ones of a similar ilk, and
Grungy
Nirvana, where grunge had
Outcasts.
died, it kind of went. So I wanted to pick something that was like of a new band or a new pretender that has that kind of raw energy that kind of Nirvana came with. So I went for it, and it's within the last year. Though.
I better write this down. So I'm not
Yeah,
down
I'm here with
I'm
my
not down
files
with the
already.
kids like you are.
Yeah,
I'll make it very easy because the name of the album's the same as the band,
right. Self-titled.
and it's
okay.
self-titled, so it's Raw Blood.
Royal.
Is that Royal.
Royal
Royal
Blood.
Blood.
I actually, funny that you mentioned this. Was this the Mercury Music Prize winner last year? Now that I just think about it, possibly.
Pass. I've never heard of Royal or Raw Blood before.
Royal Blood.
I know.
Royal Blood. ROYAL.
But I've never heard of them.
I love it
No.
when they have. I love it when they have an eponymous debut album. Is it their debut album? The eponymous
Yes, it
debut
is.
album.
Yes, it is.
Love that. I love that saying.
I quite like. Yeah. I mean, what was another one? I was gonna say the Zootons nearly, but who killed the Zootons? I suppose. I mean, yeah, that's a hell of an album too. Royal Blood.
Yeah.
Royal Blood. I will, acquire that from legitimate sources in the near future and listen to that for next week.
Would you
Talking
Good
about-
one. Are they?
Talking of legitimate sources,
That's exactly what I was going to say myself. Go for it.
yes, the old Apple Music caper. What do you make of that then?
Well, I think I activated my 3-day trial, or 3-month trial, should I say. And, like, I'm already a subscriber to Deezer, because I get a year's Deezer free with my Sonos speaker. And, I mean, as it turns out, like, all the services are very much of a muchness. Like, they're very, very, very similar. What I like about the Apple service is that I can link in the purchase music in with it really, really easily. It used to really annoy me, you know, because I've got... The Beatles aren't on Apple Music, right? But I have most of the Beatles albums bought off iTunes. And you would have to download them onto your phone and taking up storage on your phone, and it was always a pain in the fucking backside to do that. Whereas now I can just have those couple of albums there and then stream everything else without having to download off iTunes again. I quite like it. I think Beats, the radio station, is quite good. I sat and listened to Zane Lowe for a couple of hours there earlier on. They kind of played the same track twice within the space of an hour. You can see how they're starting to fucking already fall foul of this. We're going to push these 1 or 2 tracks because they're either exclusive to us or we're getting paid a shitload of money to promote them or whatever that is. But you know, I quite liked it. And the Beck song Dreams, have you heard that yet? I know you're a bit of a Beck fan.
Is that on a new album? What's that one?
I think it is new. Yeah.
Oh, no, I've not heard that yet.
I think so. I heard it today. Let me just make sure. I thought it was new because it wasn't off Morning, whatever it's called. Yeah, it is new. Yeah.
What's it called? Morning
Phase. Morning
That's
Phase.
it. What's it?
What's
Morning
it?
Glory. Fucking hell.
No, I nearly said it myself.
Very different.
I love Beck as much as the next person. Now this is a new track. It's great.
Alright.
It is fantastic.
I saw your tweet and felt left out, not being an Apple fan. So I thought, oh, fucking hell. And then I thought, oh, I've not tried this Google Music since they changed subscription. It's like a subscription service, just same as Spotify. I've got a premium Spotify service. I've had it since it started.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, I'll see what this Google one's like, because I'm an Android boy, so I thought I could streamline everything, just join it all together. And so I've just done a month's free trial on it, and then realised I'd uploaded loads of albums, same as you're saying on Apple. I did the same. And I thought, what for? What's all these? Who's all these artists? Then I put it into album view, and it's a load of fucking like compilation albums and stuff I uploaded years ago when it first came out. So
fucking great.
if I can talk my son into swapping Spotify for Google, because he uses it.
Well in.
Yeah, because he's fucking hell. I'll be listening to Spotify up in Scotland when I'm at work, and then all of a sudden, Take That'll come on, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Why has this happened? And he's got it on his tablet down here, and it doesn't override. I know, I'm calling him out. Yeah. In years to come, when I've died in some head-on collision with a fucking lorry, and he's listening to these back so he can listen to my voice. Hello, Tommy.
You know, funny enough, he was having a conversation with his mates the other day. He says, I was fucking listening to Take That the other day. Fucking mind my own business, and the fucking Beach Boys came on. What a pile of wank that is.
You would think you'd think my Spotify subscription would override it, like him listening to on a separate thing, but it's not. They just, whoever's listening, they can interrupt. So I like trolling him the other day. He'd got to take that on, and I'm like kept interrupting him with some shit. That's fun to be had, but yeah, I might change to Google Music. It's got the same amount of tracks on it.
Yeah, they're all very much in muchness. The one thing I'll say about Apple is that I can set up a family membership. It's a wee bit dear, but I can have 4 people with 4 different accounts, but all paid for by one subscription.
Ah.
So instead of a tenner a month as Spotify and all those ones are, it's £15 for the 4 accounts. So I can, my 2 daughters can have their own thing, and they're both getting into music quite heavily.
Oh, and it's totally separate playlists, is it?
Yeah.
That's good, yeah.
That is, you just run it off your own account, but I like the fact, because I'd set them up so that if they want to buy an app, it comes to me with a request to buy it for them, rather than me having to buy them fucking gift cards and all that nonsense. Yeah, so I just come to the thing and I can authorize the payment myself. So I know what they're buying, I know what they're using, and all that kind of stuff anyway. You know, because
you're tech savvy. My nephew, he spent 50 quid on something a few months ago. And his dad got his like credit card bill, and he's like, "What the fuck's this?" Because obviously he'd not set it up in such a way that he knew what the fuck he were doing, basically.
It's funny. I dug out all my 2 cases. We're clearing out the garage the other day, and 2 cases with full of CDs. You know, we're taking them out of the covers and just pop them in. And see if you don't look at those things, and while you forget you fucking have them, and you go, "I used to have an album of thing." and then you remember that it was in the case. So they're sitting in my car. They must be adding to my fuel bill because they're fitting two massive fucking cases this size in my fucking car with me going through albums and CD singles and fucking right, I'll whack that in for a while. Fuck Apple Music, go through all my own stuff. I definitely have reached the point where I'm like, you know, show you the poster of the new band that are out. And I actually caught myself the other day. There was a picture came up. I can't remember what the fuck you call them. This is the new band. This is the hot new thing. And I went, fuck me, they are about 14. And I could just see myself, my dad, doing the exact same thing about fucking 20 years ago. Fuck, what age are these kids out making music now? Fuck, what do they know about the world? And I'm like, give me a bit of Bob Dylan or something.
The definition of rock and roll is the music that your parents wouldn't like, apparently.
Yeah, that's true.
So One Direction's rock and roll then. I'm not having that.
Yeah. Although I think that's changed. In an advent of time and music where, you know, we can kind of listen to anything as much as our sons and daughters can. It's not like years ago where, you know, you had to go and find the records and it was passed around the school, or the tape was passed around the school, and that's how you got to know music. Or you listen to a niche radio station. Everybody has access to the same stuff now, and that line is delineated a little bit.
Yeah, I'm proud to say I was the first person in our high school that had the Bros album. Fucking hell, those girls were flocking to me for the copy of Bros.
Fucking telling you.
Cat amongst the pigeons.
It's probably going to age me, but I remember it was in my last year of primary school when Take That announced they were going to split up. And all the girls...
I think I was 25 in that.
I was like 10, 11. And,
I wasn't quite that old, but still.
But yeah, all the girls were crying and we were all laughing because we're stupid jerk boys. But so none of you fellas fancy Tidal then, though? Don't want to give money to musicians that already earn lots of money already? No?
We'll give that a miss.
Fuck all those. But that one's Jay-Z, isn't it? Titles Jay-Z and Beyonce.
That's it, yeah. And
because they're short a few kid and P. Diddy and all those fucking...
They're all being shortchanged, you see. They're sort of not earning enough, you see. I do kind of agree, sort of on some of the points about the streaming stuff, though, isn't it? Where they've been streamed like 5 billion times and they only earn like about 30 quid from it. I think it should equate more to possibly the charts as well, maybe. You know, I think they do need to modernise it somewhat. The old business model isn't quite, you know, sort of there with it yet. But I think, I don't know, do you think, quote marks here, Hollywood... Do you think the old business model is going to be around in 10 years' time, or do you think like streaming and the narrow casting, if you will, services are going to win out over the old school things? Do you think
I think narrow casting is going to win out in all forms of popular culture. I think gaming will
so.
end up narrow casting. Movies is already. I mean, the Netflix quality stuff is of just as good, if not better, than some of the broadcast TV at the moment. So. See, they announced 4 dates for their 4 first films to come out as well. And the first Netflix original movies. I just think, I still, to this day, and I know an awful lot of people don't see this, but Netflix for me is just the best value money that I spend every fucking month.
I sold all, I think I mentioned this before, I sold all my DVDs to Music Magpie years ago because I foresaw, even before Netflix came out, I knew it would be coming. So I thought, fuck it, I'm selling everything now because I'll be able to watch this all fucking online. Because broadband's fast enough, so yeah. Like some kind of visionary.
I bet you only got about fucking 25p for all your albums as well, isn't it? They gave you that full for them.
I'd got some actually quite bizarre albums. I'm like scanning barcodes and shit, and they're coming back with like 3 quid, and I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, some really strange soundtracks I used to get from.
You're gonna
like,
make me do this now? Oh shit! You want it? I should really take a picture someday of my DVD collection. The TV.
It's kind of good. I do it with it's good. You sort of do it with your Steam album, your Steam items as well, and it's like, oh, it could go on the marketplace for 4 quid. That good. It's like, it is rare, but yeah, Music Magpie is the way forward.
Magpie.
Now, I've got my wife is an absolute beast when it comes to car boots. So she's going to go and car boot all of my... I've got loads of... I'm getting rid of all my DVDs, you know, soon. They're all sort of going.
Yeah.
I didn't really watch them now and then. There's always streaming, all that sort of business. There's other...
Nobody ever did.
Stuff.
This was the thing. We all have bought DVDs for movies thinking, fuck, I love that movie. I love that movie. Never once played the DVD.
No.
I've got loads still in like cellophane wrapping, you know. Yeah.
I've still not watched Apocalypse Now redo. no fucking remake they made of it, where there's like
yeah.
French Plantation.
Redux,
I've still not watched.
yeah.
I've still not watched that all the way through, and I fucking love that film. Still not sat and watched it.
Films are long.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem. You know, they're long. They're 2 hours of your life, and if you've already seen most of the movie, you want to get to the juicy bits. It's a bit like the world's worst movie for watching in that way is Gladiator. Gladiator, you want to get to the good scenes of Gladiator. They could have condensed Gladiator into about fucking 25 minutes. Everything else is pure wank. It's a terrible movie
That
apart
first
from
10 minutes is good, though, isn't it? That's
yeah. Great.
Yeah.
But all the other nonsense in between, his relationship with his wife.
Oh, that shit, and I'll see you again, all that bullshit. It's like,
Oh god, awful.
But I mean, yeah, it is. You just want the sort of like the 80s montage version where he's at the training school, sort of like taking sass from Oliver Reed and all that bit, coming up through the ranks, isn't it? That's the bit you want from it.
The Rocky IV montage and
It's like lifting desiccated slaves up, like doing bench presses for them. You're the best around. Yeah, it's good. I was going to say that kind of links in too. I don't know if we're doing it yet. I was going to say things everyone should do. Speaking of things that are cut down like they should be. There is. I will make sure it's a link that you can have. Someone on YouTube is doing. You know that You remember Robot
Yeah.
Wars? I used to love Robot Wars on Friday night.
Yeah.
Remote control. It's now back on in the States. It's always kind of been there, but sort of just for the geeky people, and it hasn't been on TV or anything like that. It's now back on in the States, and I'm sure you might be able to watch it legally or something. I don't know. But what some very kind YouTuber has done is they've just taken the fights themselves and nothing else and put those on YouTube. So it's like an entire 60-minute episode is condensed to like 8 minutes for all just the fights.
yeah.
And it's great now because, I'm into sort of like drones on robot type things. It's good to see how the robots have actually come on in the last, 10 years since it's been sort of really mainstream. But it has actually, sort of come on. So now, you get robots that have got proper, like, flame, not like the crap flamethrowers that, like, Sergeant Bash used to have, but actually, like, fucking jets of flame coming out of it that are about several thousand, Celsius.
Is that what this big bank fest's been on Twitter the last couple of days? With some American robot taking on a Japanese robot? Is that what that's been about?
No, that's something about like a fucking life size like giant robot things.
Oh, is it?
Anyhow, the YouTube person, if you search for Fat Kung Fu, sort of two separate words, Fat and Kung Fu, he's just put just the fights only, so it's like 8 minutes, and it's good to see. I don't know, lots of the robots involve spinning things to dangerous velocities, like giant spinning blades, like Hypnodisc, if you used to watch the old ones, and then sort of, sort of hitting things, and then bots go flying around, and they've had to have like the bulletproof glass all the way around so it doesn't, destroy stuff. But that'd be my I'll make sure that's in the show notes. By that I mean I won't make sure.
If you're into that, watch the Phoenix Knights Robot Wars. Do you remember Phoenix Knights, Peter Case?
I love Phoenix Knights. I only mentioned that the other day about fucking Brian Potter, and because he's in his wheelchair, he couldn't actually reach the spirit, so he used to like drink out of a vase because he used to sort of like reach the top shelf with his vase.
So there's a Robot Wars in that remember Ray Vaughan, the DJ
Ray Vaughan,
the electrician. He does a Robot Wars, and that is hilarious. That's worth searching out on YouTube.
I've got to go back and watch all that. I think that's just a good recommendation. Just watch all of Phoenix Knights again.
Yeah. Type in Phoenix Knights Robot Wars. That'd be cool.
I'll do that in a minute.
I'm going to recommend TV shows. Better Call Saul, I managed to get finished. I left off at about episode 6 or something about 3 months ago. It's pretty good, that Better Call Saul.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, really, really good. Although I thought the end of it was a bit... I don't get why he did what he did at the end, anyway. It just didn't make any sense through the hard bits.
The car park scene with Mike, where he brought a sandwich instead of a weapon, is absolutely fucking amazing. That's
amazing.
You know what's going to happen, boys.
Those two are just fantastic together. Mike is just such a clever character. Always the smartest man in the room, but doesn't equate it. The bit in the car park, actually, there's a scene where they've hired, this guy needs protection, so he's hired 3 guys to look after him. And Mike's one of them standing in the middle, and there's the other 2 guys there. Then one of the guys doesn't speak. There's a guy that looks like Trevor, Well, it is Trevor from
It
thing,
is
is it?
Trevor's
Yeah,
voice.
it's Trevor's.
All right.
It's Trevor from GTA. It's just fucking brilliant. Just that entire scene of how it ends
They're
up.
all really cocky, hired guns, and he's basically brought a sandwich.
It's just
Where's your gun? He just brought a sandwich. He's like, I don't need
brought a
that.
sandwich.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Well,
it's
not
just
spoiling.
it's just so good where you go where he goes, well, what are you gonna do if you need a gun? Probably just fucking take one of yours, wouldn't it? It's such a great scene, that one. It really is. Really fantastic. And the other one is Bloodline as well, which is Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights fame and from, what do you call it, Super 8, wasn't he in as well? Story of a family in the Florida Keys. And they've done something a bit remiss in the past and whatever. I'm not quite finished it. Are you finished it, Christian?
No, I'm on about episode 4, so
Oh,
yes, but
it's going to start to get quite good now. Yeah.
brilliant characters. I'm well invested into it. It's like
Yeah,
really interesting characters, scenery. The way it's shot's beautiful. It's just moody and
It is. And very well acted. Like, an awful lot of those things are very well acted and directed. You can see there's real time and care went into them, rather than going, right, we've got a script, lads, we're going to belt it out, it's going on Netflix. What they've managed to do with Netflix originals is make them all really good quality, really high standard kind of acting, directing, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really impressed. The more of those that come out, I kind of thought we'd have a couple more turkeys than we do. But...
Jolly good. Christian, do you have anything to recommend our kind listeners and watchers? Something they
I don't believe I have anything, sir. Have I written anything in the show notes which I've forgotten about due to my slightly inebriated state? No.
could do? Phoenix Knight,
No.
Robot Wars, I think you're
Yes,
saying.
Yes,
will
that's
do it.
right. He
That
already
will
did
do
that.
this week.
That'll do. Okie dokes. Let's see your homework this week, dear listeners and watchers. You should listen to both albums, Nirvana Nevermind and Royal Blood, Royal Blood. And if you've any opinions you'd like read out or any sort of thoughts on the podcast in general or the redness of Christian's face, you can send them to @mandrawpod on Twitter. It's getting worse, mate.
I'm
I don't know if it's the
warm,
lighting.
I'm fucking warm, that's why.
Oh, it's got a clam on. You can send them to @mandrawpod on Twitter. Let's see, is there anything else to mention? I don't think there is. I think that was us for this week. Okie dokie then. Well, I think we will catch you next week. It has been grand stuff as always. I'd like to thank my fellow bro hosts. We have the Red Man, Christian. Thank you.
Cheerio,
All
thank
right.
you.
And the Potato Man, Chris. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Potato Man, it's me. Lost my spectators.
And the Lord Ant-Man is me. We are saying goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.